Hi you guys, this is Nicole from Spiritual Thoughts, and today I'm here to talk about my yoga teacher training experience. I completed my first yoga teacher training a little over a year ago, and I'm currently going through my second teacher training, which is in the style of Yin. In this video, I'll be specifically just going over my basic 200-hour yoga teacher certification, but I will do a whole other video on my Yin style training once I have finished it and had time to integrate it. So when I was 18 years old, about a year ago, I decided to go through with my yoga teacher training, which is something I had been wanting to do for so long. I started practicing yoga about 5 years ago, and ever since I started, I had been completely hooked. I fell in love with all of the different styles of yoga, all of the different ways to teach and practice, and all of the ways that yoga helped me quiet my mind and find control over my body. So I enrolled in yoga teacher training at Core Power Yoga, and it's a fairly large yoga branch, so I figured that they would be credible and reliable, and obviously they're Yoga Alliance certified, so you will be able to teach at whatever studio you want once you have that certification. I chose to do the 200-hour, which is just the basic yoga teacher training that you do to start off with, and I definitely am interested in the future in completing the 500-hour, which is very intense, but worthwhile for the knowledge and the training. My yoga teacher training program lasted 8 weeks long, and we met 3 times a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for 3 hours each session. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we would work on the poses, learning the sequence, breaking down anatomy and philosophy and all of that good stuff. And then on Sundays, we would practice teach. And we would practice teach on the other people in the teacher training. We would get into little groups of 2 or 3 and then go through the whole sequence just like we were teaching a private class. And then we would give each other feedback, criticism, things that we did well, and things that we could work on. One of my favorite parts of the whole teacher training was learning about anatomy and the posture breakdowns. Having someone break down a yoga pose and go through the specific alignment of your body really helps you understand how the pose works, what it's benefiting, how you should be practicing it, and your own limits in the posture. So I definitely found out that I was doing most of the poses completely wrong, and there were some poses that I was even hurting my body more than helping it because I was trying to look a certain way or reach a certain goal instead of just being in the pose and not worrying about what I look like. So that's a huge thing that I took away from my yoga teacher training, is that it really doesn't matter what you look like in a pose. It only matters that you're doing it right, you feel good, and you're not overstepping your boundaries. Once we learned all of the basic poses, the alignment and safety, we worked on more yoga philosophy, the 8 limbs, and all of that good stuff. It really brought me a deeper sense of appreciation and so much more knowledge about yoga in general, and I really recommend, even if you don't want to teach yoga, but taking some sort of yoga teacher training if you want to deepen your practice or deepen your knowledge about yoga in general. It is so amazing, and it really does help so much. One of the hardest parts about yoga teacher training for me personally was coming to terms with the fact that I have more knowledge and I have more power inside of me than I give myself credit for. Being pretty young, I was kind of scared to step up and be a teacher when I might be teaching people who are twice my age. They might look down on me like, why is this young girl trying to teach me something? But we often give ourselves way less credit than we deserve, and by going through teacher training, you actually know a lot more than the general public does about yoga, safety, alignment, and anatomy, so give yourself more credit. If you do go through with the yoga teacher training, be confident in your abilities as a teacher and be strong. So once we learned the sequence, all of the poses, all of the philosophy, and all of the basic history and knowledge about yoga, we were finally able to test out and audition to teach at the studio if we wanted to. We had the choice. If we wanted to teach at the studio, we could audition, or we could simply go find another place that worked better for us. The test was super easy. Obviously, if you spend 8 weeks learning about something, you're gonna do pretty well on the test, especially if it's something, you're very passionate about. And I actually have my test right here, so I can go through some of the things that are on it and some of the things that you're going to learn in your yoga teacher training. So this was my final exam, and it had quite a few questions. There was, let me see, was 50 questions on this test, and we went all into separate areas of the room facing away from each other. Obviously there's not really desks or anything in the yoga studio, so we had to take these on the ground, which kind of was whatever, but okay. So some of the basic things that are going to be on this test, or some of the things that you'll learn, is just things like what yoga means, which is union. The actual word yoga means to yoke or union, to bring together, listing all of the poses in the sequence that you had to learn, explaining sun salutations or Surya Namaskar A and B. There's questions about the 8 limbs of yoga. There's a question here about chakras as well. There's questions about each individual pose and what your body is specifically doing in those poses. So yeah, that's just a little brief overview of this. I'm obviously not going to show the whole test because that would be kind of boring. Overall, my yoga teacher training experience truly changed my life. It changed how I view yoga. It changed how I viewed myself as a person, a teacher, and a student. And it really opened up a lot of paths and doors for me that wouldn't have been opened otherwise. Not to mention, I met so many beautiful souls, and I just gained a lot of knowledge and experience that I couldn't have gotten elsewhere. Best of luck to you on your yoga journey. Sending you all of my love. I'll see you in the next video.